Hey guys, it's Greg Tastic here, and today I wanted to do a video that I actually should have done a month ago, but it's better late than never. And the question that I want to ask today is, now that it's 4 months later and I've had some time to stew with my Ryzen purchase, do I still not re- do I still not regret? That's a weird way of asking it, but am I still happy with my purchase of buying my 1700 on day one? So it's funny because with time, my opinion has actually changed, and I actually do kind of regret buying the CPU day one. I don't regret that I have a Ryzen CPU, and I bought another one a month ago for my side computer, but I do regret being an early adopter with the CPU, and it shows you in the future. I mean, people already knew this, but it kind of shows you why you should usually wait a month or two after something comes out before you go ahead and purchase it, because it's always usually better. So I'm just going to go over my three reasons why I actually regret buying the CPU on day one. The first reason is that the support for the CPU was terrible. Going from the motherboards, where none of them really ran the RAM at the correct speeds, to going to stuff like, did Windows support the multi-threading of the CPU right, and were games supporting the CPU with the latest drivers. The first couple of months with Ryzen were kind of crappy when it came to support from the manufacturers and the software developers. There was a lot of catch-up to be done, which is kind of expected, but at the same time was disappointing, and is something that you should think about before you go out and purchase something on day one. Because especially my motherboard experience, I returned the first board because Asus wasn't giving me any support. It wasn't so much that the Asus board wouldn't run the RAMs at the correct speed, because so many boards were having a problem with that. It was more that I was contacting Asus about it and they weren't responding to me. Then I got the ASRock X370 board that I did the videos on, and from what I understand, that board is never going to see 3200 megahertz, and they end of life the board, which is pretty shitty that a board you could buy 4 months ago, they've already stopped supporting. I don't know, I haven't researched it too much. Maybe that's not even true. Maybe it's just a rumor. But the fact that it's even a rumor that you're having that much trouble with a board is pretty sad. And I actually went to a B350, the Tomahawk, because it had, the X370 was kind of overkill, and the B350 board had everything I wanted. So, but I held on to that X370 board, and I'm hoping that if ASRock did end of life it, why would they not substitute it out for whatever their current board is at that price range? And I'm going to do a video on that when I research it more. Alright, so that's the first reason I regret it. The lack of support when the processor first came out, which is kind of to be expected. The second reason I regret it is price. These things apparently have been selling well and are very popular, but they still saw price drops very recently after they launched. The 1700, which is what I bought for $330, has been down to $270. So, when you buy expensive computer parts, $60 is, a nice little bit of change to have as a difference between buying it day one and buying it day 35 or something. Not to mention that after launch, there were also a lot of good combo deals on certain sites and certain stores. Like when I bought the 1600, I basically could have gotten any, depending on the price of the board, I could have gotten boards from like $10 to $70 that were more expensive than that. Basically, I could have bought the CPU that's 1600, which is what I did buy for the other computer, for 200, and then spent $10 to $70 on a board, depending which one I wanted, and that would have been less money than I spent just on the 1700. Which leads me into my regret number 3, is I actually wish I waited for the Ryzen 5 processors, because I feel like the 1700 is, even for my needs where I wanted to stream stuff and all of that, is kind of overkill. The 1600 is going to provide you with the same amount of gigahertz and clock speed as the 1700, and also still have 6 to 12 cores, whether they be real cores, hardware cores, or virtual cores, 6 to 12, which is plenty for nowadays. The games aren't even going to support that, or they are supporting it, but we know how that goes. They're supporting 6 to 12, 8 to 16, whatever, but really major games do not need 6 cores right now, for the most part. And even if they did, I'm still 1080p gaming, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, I wish I waited for the 1600. It would have been cheaper, and it would have done basically all I needed for less of a price. So, that's just like 4 months later. I wanted to sum up how I felt about it. I'm happy that I have the Ryzen CPUs that I do have, and I'm happy that I was able to do videos on the CPUs before a lot of people really got them, and I was able to help some people make decisions based on the CPUs and the motherboards that I used. But honestly, for those 3 reasons, the lack of support, the price, and the fact that I just probably would have been better off with a 1600, I do regret the decision a little. It's regrettable in that I could have saved maybe a total of like a 150 to 200 over what I spent, and still been just as happy with the 1600. And if I had waited, wouldn't have had to deal with the lack of support from hardware manufacturers and software developers. So really, it's just the same old story that everyone tells you, whether it be games or hardware or anything else. You should really let the market flush itself out before you purchase something. So overall, I do kind of regret it and wish I waited, but it's not like I don't like Ryzen. Overall, I wish, this is the best way I can say it, is overall I wish I waited, but it's not like I regret it in that I wish I had an Intel CPU instead. I'm still happy with having 6 or 8 cores at a realistic price versus Intel having slightly better clock speed and paying a lot more for, and in the case of like 8 cores, a lot more for those cores. But that's it. That's all I wanted to say, and thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe or comment down below and let me know what you guys think, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.